Hello, everyone. Welcome to Barca News. It is September 11th, 2025, and today, members of the Executive Board of UEFA met to discuss several things, amongst them whether to allow Barcelona and the Villarreal match to be held in Miami. Also, the Technical Committee of Referees, or the CTA, has given explanations to some controversial refereeing calls this season. And finally, John Laporta has given an update in regards to the Spotify Camp Nou. We have a lot to discuss, so let's begin. Hello everyone, welcome to the channel. My name is Mo. We'll begin this video with the news that today UEFA's executive board met to discuss several topics. Amongst them was whether to allow the Villarreal versus Barcelona match, which is set to be played on December 20th or December 22nd. I think it's December 20th in Miami, Florida. And as you know, Javier Tebas has been trying to have some La Liga matches played in the U.S. as a way to bring in more money for the league. He's tried that twice in the past. It didn't work. This third time, he finally got the approval of the Royal Spanish Football Federation. But now the next body that needs to approve this is, of course, UEFA, who met today in order to discuss whether to allow this, amongst other things, such as the stadiums for the finals of the Champions League for the 2027 year. Now, UEFA have decided that the men's final in 2027 will be played at the Metropolitano Stadium in Madrid, which is the stadium of Atletico Madrid, something I told you that was most likely going to happen. And for the women's final in 2027, it's going to be in Poland, in Warsaw National Stadium. Now, those two things were decided. The next thing on the agenda was to decide whether to allow the match against Villarreal, and while UEFA have decided to suspend the decision, not do it yet, because they want to hear from all the parties involved. And in fact, they did issue the following statement. The committee acknowledged that this is an important and increasingly relevant issue, but expressed its desire to ensure that the views of all stakeholders are taken into account before making a final decision. So we still don't have a decision on whether the Villarreal and Barcelona match will be allowed in Miami. UEFA wants to hear from everyone. Of course, once they do have a decision, I will be here to tell you all about it. So if you haven't subscribed, you haven't hit the bell button, make sure you do so you can stay up to date on everything in regards to our beloved club, FC Barcelona. Now, speaking of UEFA, they are currently negotiating with CONMEBOL, which is the equivalent of UEFA but for South American football, regarding the Finalissima. The Finalissima, of course, if you don't know what the Finalissima is, this was like a new competition. Not really, well, competition is more of just one match between the winner of the Euros versus the winner of Copa America. So the winner, so pretty much South American champion versus European champion, the two strongest continents in the world of football. The first edition was, of course, between Argentina and Italy, where Argentina won 3-0, so winning the first edition of the Finalissima. And now the second edition will be between, well, Spain, who won the Euros, and against Argentina, who have won the Copa America once again. So we're going to see a Messi versus Lamine Yamal, Argentina versus Spain. And right now, UEFA are negotiating with CONMEBOL the date of this match. Now, right now, there is no final date, but they're talking maybe March of 2026. Now, Argentina has already qualified to the World Cup, so they don't have to worry about a qualifying match. Spain is on the verge of qualifying. If they qualify in the next FIFA international break, then we could be looking at March for the month of the Finalissima between Argentina and Spain. Now, as far as stadiums, the following stadiums are being considered for the Finalissima. There's, of course, Wembley. There's the Hard Rock Stadium in Miami, Riyadh, Lusail, I think that's in Qatar if I'm not mistaken, and finally Montevideo, which is in Uruguay. So the negotiations will continue, and once there's a final date and a final stadium, of course, again, I will be here to tell you all about it. By the way, how excited are you for that match? Messi versus Lamine, Argentina versus Spain. Let me know who do you think is going to win. Let me know who do you think you want to win, because one thing is, for example, I would like to see Argentina win again because Messi is nearing his end of his career, so it'd be nice if he can take another trophy. But I think Spain has an edge because, of course, The players are much younger, higher caliber. They do have Lamine. Of course, Argentina does have Messi, but Messi is, well, how old is he? 38, 39? But nonetheless, I think it's going to be one hell of a match regardless of who wins. And again, regardless of who wins, I will be happy either way. So let me know your thoughts down below in the comment section. And let's move on to the next bit of news, because the CTA has explained. If you don't know what the CTA is, it's the Technical Committee of Referees, have explained some controversial calls that have happened during this season, is starting with the Mallorca call. Remember, if you don't recall this was the first match of La Liga for Barcelona. Can't remember which Barcelona player kicks the ball into the box. A Mallorca defender clears it with the head, throws himself on the ground. The ball ends up landing to Ferran Torres, who shoots it, scores goal, and of course, the Mallorca players complained that the referee should have stopped the match due to the concussion protocol, because there is a concussion protocol where if a player is suspected of have suffered a concussion, the referee has to immediately stop the match to allow the medical staff to check in on the player, because of course a concussion is a serious thing. You need medical intervention as soon as possible. So the Mallorca players were claiming that the referee should have stopped the match immediately because their defender had fallen to the ground and that there was suspicion of concussion. The referee did not do that. He allowed Ferran's goal, which was Barcelona's second goal. And this is the explanation that the CTA gave us in regards to this call. The rule is clear. In the event of a blow to the head, the player comes first. What does the protocol say? The referee must stop the game immediately so the player can receive treatment. On this occasion, the referee allowed play to continue, but the impact on the player required stopping the game at the instant. Only if the shot on goal had arrived immediately after the impact would the goal have been valid. Therefore, the correct decision would have been to stop the game. This play reminds us that the safety of the player comes first after everything else. So the CTA is saying that the referee erred, that he should have immediately stopped the play, because the protocol says that when a player is suspected of having a concussion, you need to stop it right away, which of course I talked about this when it first happened. I think that's absolute bullcrap. There was no suspicion of concussion. This is not a player that was walking around and all of a sudden, boom, ball hits him in the head and, causes the concussion. This is the guy who cleared the ball with his head. And there's a big difference between getting hit in the head with a ball versus clearing it. Because when you get hit in the head by a ball, you're not expecting it. And since you're not expecting it, your muscles, your neck muscles, your shoulder muscles are all relaxed. So when the ball hits the head, those muscles are relaxed, so the head moves violently, and that's what causes a concussion, right? The head moves violently inside, really quickly. The brain inside cannot keep up with the movement, so it hits the skull from the inside, and that's what causes a concussion. When you clear the ball, you're ready for it. You put your chin down, you toughen up your muscles in your neck, in your face, in your shoulder, and all that helps absorb the blow. So there is no danger of concussion. But with this, the CTA are saying every time a player clears a ball, well, there's suspicion of concussion. You have to stop it. So now, pretty much what the CTA are telling defenders is, hey, if you're afraid because the other team is attacking, clear the ball with your head, immediately drop on the floor, and boom, there we go. We got to stop the game because concussion protocol. Absolutely stupidity. I think this is the CTA just trying to cover the referee's butt, or I'm sorry, their butt, not the referee's butt, and just go by what the mainstream media were saying. Absolutely the wrong decision. Anyways, the second decision that they explained was, of course, the handball by Alejandro Balde. Of course, this was ruled as a penalty kick. I talked about this before. I don't think this is a penalty kick. As you can see, Balde is trying to move his hand out the way. It's close to his body. There's nothing he could do besides chop his arm off. And even if the hand was not there, his torso is there. So it's not like the hand changed anything. It's not like the hand blocked the trajectory of the ball. But nonetheless, this was ruled a penalty kick. And while the CTA also explaining this decision and what the correct decision should have been. The arm starts from a low position, and while the forward prepares the shot, the defender rises until he is at a right angle to the body. It is a position that is not natural in the game. This movement causes the defender to increase the space he occupies. How? His arm is literally in front of his torso. How did he? It's not like he went like this. But anyways, the occupies block. This movement causes the defender to increase the space he occupies and block with his arm a ball that was going towards goal. Again, he did it because right behind his arm was his torso. So either way, it would have hit the torso. The referee rightly awards the penalty because this action, the arm is placed in an improper position and prevents a shot on goal. So apparently having your arm close to your body, it makes you bigger. It's improper. It blocks the position of the ball. Again, I think this is the CTA. I mean, this just goes to show why referees so bad in the league. And not only referees are terrible, but the committee that rules them, they're just as bad. But anyway, so let's move on to the next bit of news because today was a holiday in Barcelona. It was National Catalan Day. Congratulations. Happy National Day. I don't know what the proper greeting is, but I hope all Catalans around the world enjoyed this celebration. Of course, Barcelona participated in the celebration as they always did. And one of the people who participated was, of course, Laporta as the president of the club, who, while on the street, was asked about, hey, what's going on with the Camp Nou? And this was his update. Now, remember yesterday I told you that Laporta will be holding a press conference to explain what went wrong with the Camp Nou, with all the different dates and all the different announcements and the delays, and he was going to answer questions. This is not it, okay? This is simply he was during a celebration. Some reporter caught him and was like, hey, man, what's going on? And this is what he said. So this is not the official press conference in regards to the Camp Nou, but Laporta said, we are now in the final stages of the stadium. What remains is to continue the process from an administrative and official standpoint. We are very, very excited, and I encourage the members and the fans to keep this understanding because we will all have to accomplished it together. Fundamentally, thanks to them, thanks to the culés who know that this is the most important project in our history and that we will soon return to our home. I cannot pinpoint the exact moment because it depends on the permits and the responsible authorities must grant us. What we are doing is working. We are putting in everything that needs to be done to make this a reality as soon as possible because it has already become a reality. And I'm eager for the fans to see the stadium because a few days ago we went there and I must say we were very moved because it is a masterpiece. Now concluding, Laporta said, it is a masterpiece that we will own and enjoy. We the culés, not much is left. We are moving forward. So Laporta saying that pretty much the stadium, well, or at least the phase of 1A is ready, that the only thing pending is the permits. And since we don't know when the permits will be awarded to Barcelona, he can't really give us an exact date. Thank God they finally learned their lesson not to just hand out random dates. But, of course, this kind of goes in line with what the club have been telling us the past few days, that the sections for the 1A return, which will house 27,000 people, is ready. It's just a matter of, getting all the paperwork, all the inspections, and eventually the permit, which, of course, we'll see when this will be handed to Barcelona. Anyways, that is all the news for this video. We'll be uploading another video in a few moments, so stay tuned to the channel. Don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, drop a comment, and as always, Visca Barça.